Namaste. This is the 18th episode of Thought Seeds. Thought Seeds. Different camera angle because more noise here. The usual place is like occupied, so let's be here. Has gone. Let's talk about instability actually. Me personally, in this story which I have lived, I think instability is the biggest reality and the factor which I kind of like ran away from in a way. Chaos, right? It's like my analysis of it. So what happens if you live in a very unstable environment for a long time? Your attention system suffers a lot. One, because it's coming from the environment, so you will constantly, your senses will constantly be active from outside. It will be hard for you to retreat inside, you know. And it will be harder for you to do anything actually, because whatever you do in life, it requires some level of consistency or some level of, like, you cannot like do one thing one day and then sleep and tomorrow morning, because you have different thoughts now or different state of mind, and then you just forget it and start something else, you know. So it requires a focus. But if the outside environment is not according to like that, it will be very hard, right? And somehow our mind, that's the main objective of it actually. It's always try to strive for order and certainty, right? Making things more predictable. Like even in like public places like this, I can actually retreat inside. But it's hard to do that at the home, because this is more stable and certain than that situation. It's like somebody living in a war zone, and every moment if you are thinking like anything can happen, you can die. So why would you put any consistent effort in some result you will get like 1 year after, right? Why would you will. Now there is another factor in which you might turn complete like a saint or something and get like enlightened in that situation, because you always live in the present moment, so you start doing things even things you are doing consistently, you don't do out of the result of it. Nishkam karma, right? The action which is done without the desire for the fruit, because then you have to do it like that. And like look at relationship as a like uh, like a thread between you and that person. Okay, it's like you are binded. Okay, like look at it like in a game like that, and like there is a rope and you are bound from your waist, and then it is bound to someone else, and then someone else, then this person, then this person. So all the relationship in our life are like can be looked at like that. And when one person is like sometimes he's pulling this side, sometimes he's pulling this side, sometimes he is not pulling, so sometimes he is just silent. But any moment it like there's not basically timetable of when the person will start pulling. So you cannot sit and do anything because and there can be no communication and discussion like okay, if you want to go this way, 5 o'clock, let me do the work here and then we will go together. It's not like that. So that person or that thing, it can be even like a system or anything, is unstable. It can change anytime. It's like share market, it can lot of fluctuations. I honestly feel like I have not even like lived life or anything. And like I seriously don't know what is meaning of living life. Somehow the entire life was always made not about you basically. You know? Maybe that's why like that was one advantage also because then myself is not that big in a way. It like reduces very fast. But the fear angle is strong. Basically, so you extend outward because of two things. One, you want to increase your okay. So let's see human being as a balloon, okay? So there are two purposes of like mind or ego or anything. One is to increase the balloon, okay, that you call expansion or that you call growth, okay? So if you keep earning more and more, if you keep having something more and more, some delicious food more and more, you are increasing that balloon. That is desire. You are increasing it. Second is the maintenance of balloon. It's like maintaining it to the state it is. So that is survival. That is fear. This fear helps you maintain, and desire makes you expand outwards. And fear is the basically the anti-force against pushing inward. If you look at it in essence, it's kind of a form of a desire only. Like you can look at it like this as a one thing also, like something which is outward pointing and something inward pointing. So the mind always points outward. It wants to collect more in a sense, right? It wants to increase its storage space. It wants to read more books. It wants to gain more experiences and like that. But when now come back to the rope situation, okay? The relationship, attachments. So relationship looks very close. Like look at the word attachment. What is attachment? Attachment means you are attached to someone. Now it's mental, so you don't see it like, but make it like physical, okay? Like have an imagination in your mind, like a game in which you have bound yourself to like 4 or 5 different factors, and there is no common, and that is chaos. There is no common consensus between these parties. Someone push this side, someone is pulling this side, so Everybody is putting force and energy, but nothing is getting done. You understand? And that is chaos. It's like energy is applied, it's you getting used, life force basically, like life is getting used but nothing is getting done. And the same model you can apply to countries also. So that's why countries which is like the communist model is successful in a certain sense, because it doesn't let that happen. It doesn't let people pull it in different directions. For a more the greed model of West is also in a similar sense, because everybody desires, right? It's a common system basically. Everybody wants to go forward. There's nobody who is saying like we don't want iPhone 15. Everybody wants iPhone 15. So everybody wants to go more and more and more and more. Nobody will say like this is enough. Let's just live life. So you got the situation. See, the consciousness is the same. You can look at it as a country's consciousness or a world consciousness, like humanity consciousness. And obviously it's like a average out done by the mind. It's like pattern extracted by the mind. But you can look at it. Like Indian consciousness, you can very clearly look at like it has traumatic symptoms. Because when you go through a lot of trauma about your identity, like somebody has constantly said that you are wrong, it's like it's to a child, right? And someone more powerful, like a parent, or it can be any situation, like office boss, any power equation, okay? And they constantly, whatever you do, they find some fault in it, and your fault they always keep remembering and making you remember also. But what good things that you do, they never remember, they never say it to you. But faults they say, because that is the way to put you down in a way. So that is like a trauma in a sense, like your identity crisis. And India has gone through that like so much. It's like people are lost. So when that happens, what will happen? So let's say today I remove all the identities from you to any person, like to these like a proud white male, because I like that is actually basics to it. Apparently works also. But the actual was the queen anyway, so it was not even actually male. It was the birth of masculine queen who is into violence. Generally, femininity is more about love and expansion and birth, life. So if you remove all the the identities, the person says like I am a lawyer and I am a father and I am this, I am that, or anything that they believe in, like okay, I believe in this way of doing things, this way of marriage, this is how people should live together, this is our thinking. So basically consciousness, like what I looked at is like a thinking, okay? Might be wrong, so see, don't quote me on, like I am not any absolute guy, okay? And I generally believe that anything other than the emptiness, whatever you say is a model only. So even you can look at like same thing in a very different patterns or models. So it's fine. You use the model which is more appropriate to explain the situation, because the basic aim is not to give an absolute model. The basic aim is to communicate, right? And that should be the aim in education also. So it should not be like to describe how an atom is. It should be like, okay, this is the model we have identified the atom is, and that model let us do a lot of things with it. When you go into this absolute, it means you are going more into the pride or ankar or like that. So where we? Yeah, so Indian consciousness, so like look at Indian people still thinking like, if you learn English, then you are a smart person. While learning Sanskrit is much more difficult than, or learning Telugu or Tamil or any other Indian language is much more difficult than learning English actually. English is very simple, but even like a stupid language. Like while Chinese, well, it was much more difficult than any other language. But English, and it's not like English is superior in any terms of like grammar. Okay, English is superior in terms of vocabulary, like, or anything. But still, it's because it's the language of gods basically. Because someone who is more powerful to you will feel like a god to you. Because they have control over you, right? So what is God? We will say, no, the God is ever controlling. Like whatever you are doing or whatever is happening is all done by God in a way. So when human beings try to occupy the position of the God, then they become like, try to use their power, violence to become your God. Like, I will determine your fate. Your fate is not determined by some other entity. It is determined by me. So they want to take that position. And that is their increasing of balloon, because that's how their balloon get increased. They're like, okay, I can control so much. So many people I have under my power now. So my balloon is the biggest now. There's a big, like I told you, English, then a lot of stuff. Like most of the knowledge which is supplied as a knowledge by the Western world is just the same stuff packaged in a different manner, and then they give it to you. Discussed this before, like some series on Instagram, but like look at anything. Indian people use like there is a big research that has gone into the use of plants or natural things in India. Like every tree, it has been researched like its leaf, what is the use of the leaf, what is the use of the stem, what is the use of the root, like can we use it as a medicine, can we eat it, can we put it in food like this, like what are spices, they are like that only, plant parts. Some are flowers, some are some other things, some are roots, some are stems, all of that. You understand? So you should understand that all of this was not done just as accident. There was a conscious thought that went into it. How the process, obviously we don't know, and it's useless to guess it, but and so all of this knowledge was called stupid knowledge. Why? One, because it is slightly slow as compared to the chemical medicine that somebody else gives. So yesterday only, like I had like this short thing. So like my mother gave me like mulethi. What is that? It is actually like a plant stem, and you stab, you just chew it, and it has like a very different kind of like taste. And then you say like cinnamon is also like that. So much like, and everything people try to use like the nature in the best efficiency, and so that in a sustainable, so that is the real sustainable way of looking at life. Because obviously it is understood, only life can give more life, and everything is life around you. The plant you eat, the air you have, everything is life. Otherwise non-life thing can never give you life. If air didn't have any life element in it, how can it goes inside and bring life? It is not possible, no. So because if it is possible, then that has to be specified. Like where does that material to life transition happens? Because there is no transition. So like look at like yoga. So yoga is like the very ancient science, and it's a proper science. Like people have done a lot of research. Like so many people have spent so much time. Do you think any breathing technique just comes out like that? Like it comes out. People know like you should do it like this, and in this much time maybe you can go to this level, which is the next level. And these are maybe the bad things that can happen. These are the good things because they have experimented with it. They've given their life to it. But because we are that knowledge, they were nice guys, so it was already available free to us. So we take it for granted. But then the corporate minded people, or like the Western people mostly, like at that time, they took it. They're like, okay, this knowledge is free. Why should we spend like so much time in inventing something new? Why don't we just take the stuff is already there and just tweak it, put some of our name. So even in like breathing techniques, you see a lot of like and the very interesting thing about like these people is they always add their names to things, whatever they think they have done. So it's like Winhoff effect, Tom Riddle query. Like it's like there now. It's their thought. You have to own it. My God, like so much like yoga science was invented, Vedas were written, so much was done, so much knowledge was like actually extracted without anybody calling it like this is Aryabhata's model or this is like my breathing. This is my posture. No, the posture was based on like, okay, if it is like a snake, then it's like snake posture. But the person could have said no. It was like I invented it, so it's my posture. It's not a snake posture. But it makes more sense to communicate it to people, to call it a snake posture, rather than putting your name on it and then explaining what it means. So all the yoga also they took it and rebranded it in various ways, and so the same Indian person who is not interested in yoga, who is not interested in all of that in India, will do the same thing by different package by when you go to outside. That is fine. In India, you always curse these people. They're like, oh, these are bad people. They don't know. They are just getting money and everything. So why do you care they're getting money or not? Even when you are going to yoga center in somewhere else, you are giving them money. Are they doing it for charity? If you live in like a more structured society of the West, are they giving it things for free to you? Everybody takes money. No, that is fine because that is then that way they can be billionaires, but that is fine. So this is also like the traumatic response of the Indian consciousness. It's basically the because of the instability that is caused within the chaos, there is a very deep feeling of mistrust among each other. And obviously people, there are all sort of people also, people make fool also each other, but that happens at every level. Like this powder what Johnson and Johnson, now people are figuring out it causes cancer. So don't you think those people know? Or if they didn't know, then how come their apparatus, all this testing and their standards and all of that, which they proudly say, like we are test things and all of that, and then why was not done? But nobody cares really, it's all game. for a long time in my life, like I hesitated to even like part of too many like debates, discussions, because I knew what is wrong. I knew that yeah, this person is wrong, should not be done, but you don't know what is right then, how it should be done. But now it's kind of like, okay, there's more completeness to the picture. So I'm saying what I'm saying, and I'm saying it with at least complete faith in myself. Like this is my thinking is, and I can stand up behind it without like using manipulative tactics or anything. We can discuss it, and I can stand behind it. However you discuss it, rationally, if you want to go about it, you want to see it as an experiment or anything. You're talking about like the trauma. So what happens? No, it's like trauma works like that. One time, something happens to you. One time, so that is another model. Okay, now we will look at it. I'll tell you. Much more interesting here. So this is like you, okay? Present moment. Now this is the thought which is going to move. Your life is movement in a way. Look at it like that. And if you look at life as a thought, then this is the thought. Now the thought will move. But before moving, as I told you before, there are two things. One, it wants to increase the ego bubble. Second, it wants to preserve so that somebody don't burst the bubble and you go like puss. Survival basically, okay? So it has all the data of the past. Like it cannot go in this direction because there's a fear. Like the bubble will burst in this direction. It cannot go in this direction because again there is a fear of different kind. And it can go in this direction. This is a free movement direction, and there we can fulfill our desire or whatever you want to do, and like this is the way. What happens in trauma is like, or generally like in depression or anything, if most of your directions of the thought are stopped by fear, you're saying, okay, I will do this, but then fear comes like, no, there is also fear in that, so you don't do this. So then you're like, okay, the thought is trying to move. Thought is trying to create a possibility to move forward, because it has to move forward, because life has to move forward. Even if thought doesn't move, it will move forward anyways. But what will happen to you is, because like thought will try to move this, and if all the directions are blocked, then what will happen? Now thought is moving, the energy is there, the force is exerted, but it is not able to flow. It's like this one, like you are pushing against your hand, like, so you are straining, so energy is getting lost, but nothing is getting done. Everything is same. Just like that, like desire is pushing it to move, like move outside, but then fear is stopping it. So you are applying energy on both parts. So you are applying desire here and fear here, and so then this becomes very strained, and that's why it's called tension or stress. So look at all of these terms. What does these terms mean? It's like stress means what? Like somebody put a lot of pressure on you, so you are stretched, you are tense. Tense means what? Like something like a string which is not loose, which is like completely like stretched like this. It's tension. Something which manifests in the mental plane then find its applicability in the physical one. Then your body also becomes tense. And what happens is, in this case, energy, because this thought moves based on the energy or the life force, basically, not basic energy, but the core of energy. So that energy will get blocked. And that's why most of the people suggest, like, if you have like mental problem, you should exercise and all of that. But that doesn't solve the basic problem of your mental models, because you can take care of the symptoms, but you have not taken care of the cause problem. So the problem will come again. Like the very basic example will be like somebody has some deficiency, and then that shows on your skin as some color, but then you color it. Then like, okay, apply some makeup and color it. You are just covering the symptoms. It doesn't address the root problem. Another problem with like the dissonance which I having at the life currently is also because it's like there was a data earlier, right? And I was only looking at data from one point of view. But now I am able to look at it as a very different. It's like the Indian consciousness, right? Or the like entire human consciousness. Like why it's like because it's like a seed, and that seed will be given to like the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. It's like a thought seeds, like what we are doing, or we are trying to do. So for me, like I am looking at it in like a very different manner, and clearly I'm like, okay, so this is like that. You don't need to learn English, and all of this makes sense. But then people are still there. Like for me, the change in understanding is it's not a factor of time, because data was already there. I just rearranged it. I just looked at it differently. Everything was already there. I just looked at it, okay, can I look at it like this? And I'm like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Like you can see a lot more if you look at anything without any like perception bias. Anything. I look at a music video of any country, and you can analyze like what is the current state of consciousness there. What are people liking? Because that is the thought direction that it is going into. I think mostly like philosophy and all of these people study that, but not anything like too deep, you can just look at it also. So let's go back to our basic model, okay? So instability, right, and attachments. So the ideal way to handle that will be communication, or more inclusive way of life in which you try to move everywhere where everyone wants to. Like, okay, some 2 steps here because that guy wanted, 2 steps there because that guy wanted, 2 steps there because you wanted, and somehow we all walk together. But because of our present time, by whatever way, the distrust among human is so much. Like parents don't trust their children, like brothers don't trust each other, and obviously like these are the basic one. If their trust is not there, like there is no trust between husband and wife, everything is looked at as you have to be like safeguarded from. So what happens then if you want to create a stability, then you need to establish very strict rules and like timetables. So you will have like, okay, one time, like you have to write constitution, one time only this much can be moved, and moving has to be done in these steps, and a person gets the right of moving based on how much money they have, or how much like whatever stuff we assigned it, like any value, okay. So a billionaire can move anywhere, so because he has more something of value. But the other person, it only gets like, he only has a fare of like 10 kilometers, so you can only move 10 kilometers in life or anything. So people look at it, this kind of one, the instability, the chaos, okay, and then the reaction of that chaos is the system binding to templates, so that you make human more like robots, so that you avoid the instability. The ideal solution would have been to incorporate that differences. It's like how a plant is different, but still we find use of everything, and in like that. So everyone is different, but everyone has some use in the system, and they play their part. Nobody is up, nobody low, and like that. So obviously, like, stability is something which is to be desired, but not in the sense so that we are desiring it, because that is external push. Like, you are having stability only for the fear that, oh, if you do something, it will be a crime and you will go to jail. That is only stopping your mind from not doing the things which it actually feels like doing, like breaking stuff and all of this. Fear which is stopping it. But if fear, that creates a world of fear basically. So in trying to be more free, or in trying to escape from one cage, you are putting yourself into another cage. Now the solution to this, which I have never answered to, this I all understood. Yeah, this is what is happening. But what is the solution? So basic solution, which is love in a way. Love is that sense of like inclusivity, so that you have the feeling of taking everyone together in a way. Now I know, so and that means like the human consciousness or character has to be in a certain way, which is not there in the present situation. So, but if something is not there, doesn't mean that it cannot be done. Obviously, it can be done. So this was about a lot of concept actually, like stability, attachments, chaos, order. How you can look at the consciousness of like a group consciousness. Okay, so this is a long enough. Bye bye. See you guys in the next episode.
Real is rising again. This is not just a channel, it is truth revolution. To manifest a new world rooted in the truth of existence, join Kalki World YouTube channel. Volunteer, explore, donate at Shri Foundation. Together we awaken Dharma.